Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And this week we got another surprise Gunpla announcement. The high-grade D Gundam First from the somewhat obscure Double Fake Under the Gundam manga. Which is also why I never expected this thing to get a model kit, but here we are. Of course, this does also mean that it is a premium Bandai exclusive. It is slated for a February release and will go for 2,530 yen, 17 US, which honestly doesn't sound that bad for a premium Bandai kit, especially considering all the things that we're getting. I absolutely love the redesign they did for this, not quite a mobile suit, and it also comes with a good amount of accessories and gimmicks. It's got knuckle crushers on the arms, a beam shotgun, a drill gun with a drill bit that can be shot out, a rivet gun, 2 wire bombs, a bird glue gun, a magnetic anchor launcher with anchor that can shoot out, 2 beam sabers with beam saber blade effect parts, and a shield that can store that magnetic anchor gun, rivet gun, and dummy launchers, so quite a bundle of fun. Oh, and the reason that I called it not quite a mobile suit is because it is actually a heavily modified mobile worker. So the guy who owns this thing in the manga is a big fan of the RX-78 too. So he modified his mobile worker to be as close to the OG Gundam as possible. It still looks quite distinct, but again, I do love the design of this thing, so I might just have to go and hunt it down. And staying with the Gunpla, on the 14th, the Gundam base is getting 2 option part sets. They both go for 990 yen, 7 US, and you might actually recognize some of these. Many years ago, the separate parts of these sets were handed out as random freebies, and I don't remember them ever being re-released after that. So it's cool to see that they're finally going to be available in some form. And we also got the final details on some previously announced kits. Also limited to the Gundam base is the Real Great Sazabi mechanical core plating version, which looks like it's a special kind of clear kit, but now just with a better shine, if I'm understanding things correctly. And I really hope that this effect is going to be worth it, because it'll be releasing on the 21st for 20,900 yen, or 137 US. And other than the mechanical core plating, it is of course just the same as the standard Real Great Sazabi. Which is not the case for the Gundam Side F Limited Real Great Nu Gundam Double Fin Funnel Equip type. It is also releasing on the 21st, goes for 5,940 yen, 39 US, and does come with slightly different weapons and armor. But be warned, if you want to buy this, you have to be a Gundam member, and they do check this at the cash register. At the same time though, they did also confirm that at a later date, it will be sold at Gundam base stores and also overseas. And on the figure front then, pre-orders began for the Metal Build 00 Quanta Full Saber option set. It goes for 7,150 yen, 47 US, it is slated for a June release, and it is also a premium Bandai Limited. And just to be sure, this is not a set to turn a regular Quanta into the full Saber version. It's meant to give even more sabers to your 00 Quanta Full Saber. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, the Kshatriya Repaired has joined the fray, while on Steam, the Kanangan and Zaku 3 Psychomo equipment type have become available. And on top of that, they've also released a new developer newsletter, which I will have linked down below. First, they talk more about the ongoing events, which was followed up by a Happy Holidays campaign announcement, which will run from the 19th to the 26th. And then next up was more information on that Kshatriya Repaired and the things surrounding it, like a step-up campaign, new battle simulator missions, and a token pack that also includes Merida as a VR operator. In UC Engage then, you can get the UR Makuve and his Gyan as event unit assemblies, and you can also participate in a new Battle Rush event for SR Slife Rail blueprints and diamonds. And in Silver Phantom, Arena Mode has become available, which will allow you to experience intense battles with rifles and beam sabers. Or at least that is how they advertise it. Unfortunately though, the mobile suit selection seems to be quite limited. The only playable machines are the Delta Zine and the Nu Gundam, and for the enemy machines, you can choose between a Jagan, a Gyaradoga, a Zissa, or the Sazabi. I would have expected, at the very least, for every machine to be available as both a player mobile suit and an enemy mobile suit. But anyways, in the arcades, in Gundam Extreme vs. 2 Overboost, the Transient Gundam has become available, and in Arsenal Base, a new campaign has become available for some special Gundam Seed Destiny and Freedom cards. There's the Destiny Gundam and Shin, which also has Mayu on the card. There's Heine's Goof Ignited and Heine, which also has Shin and Athron on the card. There's the Rising Freedom and Kira. There's a Gog Gundam Seed Freedom version and Athron. Another Athron card, but this time with Kigali in the snow, and a secret card. And these cards will be handed out until the 25th. In other news then, the Giant Robot exhibition will be held in Nagoya from February the 15th until March the 24th, and will also have a limited edition t-shirt. From December the 18th then until February the 18th, Gundam Seed Freedom will be having a collaboration with Round 1, which is like a big Japanese chain of entertainment centers. There's a bowling alley, billiards, karaoke, arcade games, all kinds of sports, and of course also some food. All of which is represented in this collaboration. You can buy a variety of things featuring new art of the cast partaking in all of these different activities, and you can also order some limited edition foodstuffs. Although it looks like it's mainly going to be the drinks that are themed, because the food is literally just like French fries and pancakes. At least the drinks are made in the colors of the main characters. And then on December the 14th, 15th, 21st, 22nd, 28th, and 29th, a Gundam Café kitchen car will be open for business at the life-sized Unicorn Gundam statue in Odaiba. But again, don't go in expecting too much. To drink, you can get a coffee, hot chocolate, tea, hot lemonade, and orange juice, which will come with either a unicorn or a banshee cup sleeve. And you can also get a clear bottle, which is filled with tapioca milk tea. And then to eat, you can get a single churro in a Gundam-themed wrapper. And if you think that this is a bit underwhelming, because, maybe it is, don't worry, you'll also get one of 4 random coasters with everything you order. Do keep in mind that this food truck is competing with the giant shopping mall behind it. As for the things you could get this week then. On the 6th, the final mass production type Rico series was released on Blu-ray and DVD. On the 11th, the Bamboo Art Wagumi Char Zaku 2 went up for sale over at Premium Bandai, and it goes for 13,200 yen, 87 US, and it's like a 3D puzzle which is made out of bamboo, which gives it a very nice rustic feel. And on top of that, you also won't need extra tools to assemble this thing because everything just kinda slides into place. And then just today, we got the BB Senshi Cosmic Era 73 Stargazer set and the real great Oowashi Akatsuki Gundam. The Stargazer set goes for 3,520 yen, 23 US, and comes with the previously released Strike Noir, Birthday Buster, Blue Duel, and Stargazer. And the real great Oowashi Akatsuki Gundam goes for 8,800 yen, 58 US, and comes with some very nice plated golden parts. I have no doubt that this little fingerprint magnet will be the best Akatsuki model to date, even though it is using some frame parts from the old real great Strike Gundam. As for this week's reading material then, there was the January issue of AnimeH featuring Gundam Seed Freedom, the Winter 2024 issue of Great Mechanics G, which mainly features G Gundam's 30th anniversary, but also had some things about other series, like Requiem for Vengeance, Gundam Seed Freedom, Witch from Mercury, and Silver Phantom. And we also again got some excerpts from the December issue of CGWorld, featuring both Silver Phantom and Requiem for Vengeance. For Silver Phantom, they talked more about how they wanted to achieve the worldview of Gundam, and also some of the problems that they experienced while creating this VR movie. For example, for the animations, it was both Bandai Namco Filmworks and Albion working on it, with Bandai making the first draft, which Albion would then touch up and translate to the engine that they were using for the movie. But one of the issues was that Bandai draft was only 24 frames per second, and they wanted it to be 72, because for a smooth VR experience, you need those frame rates. Albion was mostly able to convert this automatically, but for 10%, they did need to do some manual touch-ups. For Requiem for Vengeance then, they talk about how they made the beams, and also about an interesting animation difference between the Zaku and the Gundam, which I think most of us will have picked up on. The Zaku is animated more as a weapon, ergo how it would move in real life, whereas the Gundam on the other hand moves more like an athlete with more like human movements. And while they don't say it, I'm pretty sure this extends to the gym as well, because I remember some very human-like movements when it was trying to escape from LeSean's Zaku. And unfortunately, the reason why I remember this so well is because I didn't quite like those movements. It felt weird to see a machine moving like that. Especially like an 18-meter tall machine. Like, I could understand a human-sized robot moving like that, but not a giant one. For the apparel news then, Strict G again kicked things off with some really cool Japanese art-inspired designs. You can get two different Hontens, which is a traditional Japanese winter coat, in either Xeon Red or Federation Blue. The standard Hontens go for 24,200 yen, 159 US, and the long Hontens go for 26,400 yen, 173 US. And again, just look at those designs. All of which became available in physical Strict G stores on the 7th. And on the same day, this Gundam Seed pin set also went up for sale, as part of Gundam's 45th anniversary. The set goes for 4,400 yen, 29 US, and comes with 4 pins in a nice little case. We have a long pin with Kira, Athron, Kigali, and the Freedom, and then fancy renditions of the logos of Zaft, the Alliance, and Orb. My only complaint with this is that if you're looking at the case, it feels like there's a pin missing because of the gap. I think this would have looked way better if they filled it up with like another pin, for example based on Kigali's personal emblem. Over at Bonkore then, it was also business as usual, with more acrylic things. On the 9th, pre-orders went up for acrylic rings of the original 4 Gundam Meisters from Gundam 00. They go for 1,100 yen each, 7 US, and you can either put them on your finger to easily include them in a picture, or you can simply display them on the included stand. And on the 11th, pre-orders went up for Gundam Seed Freedom acrylic display plates. There's a big one for 4,400 yen, 29 US, or a smaller one for 3,300 yen, 22 US. And do keep in mind that this is for a display plate only, on which you can put acrylic stands, but it's not, the acrylic stands are not included themselves. They are sold separately. And all of these acrylic items are slated for a February release. And as always, let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. A few weeks ago, Bandai wanted to know what our favorite mobile suit with a kanji is. And the results are kinda surprising. Like, I was expecting the Hyakushiki to win, but not by this large a margin. it got 58.4%, with the Akatsuki only getting 30.3%. And that is with the recency bias of the Akatsuki. Like, not only is Gundam Seed Freedom hugely popular, but it also just got the real grade released. So I would assume that the Akatsuki now should be at the height of its popularity. I guess that just goes to show how much staying power the Hyakushiki has. It might not have lasted in combat for 100 years, but it will definitely last in our hearts for 100 years. The third place then also surprised me, with the Bawu getting 8.9% and the Shin Burning Gundam 2.3%. I kinda expected the Shin Burning Gundam to pull ahead, but again, I was mistaken about this. Another thing I was mistaken about, by the way, was when I first talked about this poll, I went with the wrong Shin for Shin Burning Gundam. It's the kanji for God, which is then most likely a reference to the God Gundam. As for the currently ongoing poll then, I decided to make my own this week because I am genuinely curious on how people feel about the metaverse, or more specifically, what the percentages are. While I was playing that third beta test, one of the things I noticed was a distinct lack of people playing, and on top of that, I somehow managed to stumble into first place on one of the leaderboards. And as much as I would want to say that that's because of my skill, I think it had more to do with not a lot of people playing. So I am looking very much forward to seeing these results in 2 weeks. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.